Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Trainz Railroad Simulator. Trainz 29 or 2022. Yeah, I upgraded. I forgot. Since we seem to be on a roll with the approach medium stuff lately, I figured I would catch up on that which I have not reviewed from them. Not because I don't like what they've done, I just kind of figured that I haven't done a review on them, so if you guys remember, I did a video a very long time ago on the WK&S Scenic Railroad in Southern Pennsylvania that they did. But today, we're taking a look at the Dry Brook Esopus Valley. One of their more famous routes, or the routes that they're best known for, I think, approach medium anyway. Let's dive into it. Now, this is a fictional route. It is set in the more recent time period. I believe the lore behind it is it's an old freight branch line that was owned by Penn Central. And Penn Central abandoned it. And in recent years, it was reactivated as a functioning freight railroad with a separate heritage organization operating a short segment of it, for heritage operations. So, or actually, I don't even think it's separate. Yeah, it's not separate. Who am I kidding? Part of the DVAD too. But this is a really neat route in that it's an entire route built around abandonment. So it's full of overrun detail, which I think is really, really, really cool and really, really overlooked more often than not. We got all the abandoned track infrastructure and old industries and whatnot that may not be still functioning, just serviced by the truck all throughout this route. But there are some freight opportunities still here, there, and everywhere as well. So we got our cruise shops here, our locomotive storage and whatnot right here. And with the route, you actually will get some rolling stock and whatnot, which is quite nice, quite handy and helpful. You get a SW, it's 1500 I believe. Good old Penn Central colors. And an old Alco RS1. Overrun Penn Central locomotive. You get the GP9 we saw earlier, the high-nose Jeep rolling by, as well as the matching worn out PC caboose. Now, the original route ends right there. We'll dive into why that is back there in a minute, but that's not the focus of today. Overall, it's just an absolutely aesthetically appealing route with so much detail to it. It's really hard to find a lot wrong with it. One of the things it always seems to be an issue too is the lack of people. I will say is a little saddening. We got a big city right here, and there's like no people walking the streets or anything. I feel like some characters could definitely give it life. This Trainz route editing is stupid easy in Trainz, so it's not a huge deal, but I do think it is one way to improve. We got a scrap industry right here. That big interchange back there with the main railroad, of course. And then the actual main line. There's a little ice cream stop. Doesn't say anything about it in the lore, I don't think, but it is listed on the route as the DBEV ice cream passengers. It's not an actual station per se, but we have the Esopus Valley over here where the heritage operations are, so point A, point B maybe, doing little ice cream trips. But it's so cool because it's got all this abandoned track infrastructure, all this abandoned railroad and whatnot. It's only recently been reactivated, so even the main line here is all like worn and overgrown in places and buried in the gravel. That's really, really neat. Here's one of our functioning industries here, a lumber industry. Esopus Valley Lumber. Now, one of the downsides to the DB&EV that, well, I say it's a downside. It's not a big issue. I mean, you'll spend a couple hours doing the whole road switching and whatnot along this route if you set up a scenario, but one of the drawbacks is there's not really a point A, point B with any of the industries, so there's no load and unload. It's all mostly load, I believe. So bring empties in, take loaded out. Again, not a huge issue. If you took the time to fill in this yard back here, truth be told, you could be here for hours on end just doing the road switching thing, but that is one of the things one will notice. We got Pete's candy corn, inbound and outbound. And a little, a fun little heritage park. So I mentioned there's a heritage operation on the railroad. This is where I believe it's based out of. It's supposed to represent that it's based out of. With a little shed back here, twin tracks, a little where bus thing that I found on the internet some time ago. But, it doesn't look like it transferred over too well. At least the windows didn't. And there's a K&L pack that goes with this route. The DB&EV number 13 pack, which is based on one of K&L's Canadian National 460s, along with 5 coaches. Now, unfortunately, the coaches are not dynamically numbered or lettered. So you're kind of stuck with the cars that you got. It's not too terrible a thing considering, like, this car here is not numbered on the outside, so probably get away with that. The observation here, but I would want multiple of those. The diner here is not numbered. The observation is numbered. I believe this is a reskin of the business car that comes with the Reading 040 Camelback. What's really cool about the K&L pack is if you wanted to run this route as if it were still just coming out of abandonment, K&L was kind enough to include the worn out versions. Let's see. Heading to the classic, yeah. They were kind enough to include these old, worn out, abandoned models to be placed in different places along the route for whatever. Wherever one would hide stuff like this. So that in and of itself I think was really, really cool of K&L. I kind of hope that he does this with a couple more of his freeware packs. I have a lot of fun with these like abandoned looks. You get these old worn out sidings and whatnot. It's kind of fun to just kind of fill them with these old worn out coaches. But that is one of the official items that was made specifically for this route by K&L Trainz. It's absolutely worth it. It's 100% worth checking out, having for this route. It's a fun thing to use, without a doubt. Something weird going on with the windows on these too. There is also a freeware 282, I believe. I have to remember where it's at though. But that is also available as far as motive power goes. And then on the download station, there are CF7s and these aggregate cars, which are lettered for the So plenty of opportunity for motive power, plenty of opportunity for freight and whatnot specific to the route. Oh God. One of my complaints, I hate these. These are one of Approach Medium's particular items that I absolutely hate. Whenever you're doing route editing or whatnot, I wish to God you could turn these off. But I cannot for the life of me find where these assets are placed to delete them. So you will find these blasted crows all over the route. They're never quiet. It's constant. It's frustrating as balls, but it's really the only two things that stand out to me with this route is the lack of people along the route, no people characters and whatnot, and these blasted crows. Otherwise, there's really not anything I can fault on this route. It's done really, really well. Another one of those wacky things. This is more an issue with Trainz, more so than Approach Medium, but I got our display 080 sitting here idling. I do wish some people would make static versions of these models. That would be very handy. Oh well. Giggles and squiggles. Get the excursion train going for giggles and squiggles. Partially so I can see if I remember if these are functioning or not, because I don't remember. Doesn't look like they do. Oh well. That's unfortunate. I don't think they're really possible. But again, this is one of Approach Medium's earlier routes. This has been around for a little bit now, so I expect some things like that. Let's continue along. A nice variety of scenery all along the route to really keep one entertained. We got some fun bridges and whatnot. And yet again, these blasted crows. We go from the heart of a worn out city and whatnot out here to farmland and countryside, and even got some wooded hills in the back that we end up going through just about all of it. So that's pretty cool. Keeps the scenery fresh whenever you're operating. You're never stuck in the same place. There's another industry, kind of the local farms and whatnot. It's got a granary and it's kind of a general purpose siding over here for whatever. Looks like here it used to be a 2-track area. Now for the better part of the route, I believe it's like 25, yeah, most of the route's 25 mile an hour. Could it stand to be a little bit quicker in some places? Sure. I think like this area out here, the speed limit could be pushed up to 30, 35, maybe 40. 35 mile an hour, I think, is a really happy spot for out here in this open fields and whatnot. So it is a little bit slow, without a doubt. Not terribly heartbreaking, just slow. It also doesn't have train markers all along it. That is something Approach Medium did learn with their Pennsylvania and Berwyn. There are things like automatic whistle markers and whatnot. So if you set a train to operate like I have here, and then I'm going around doing whatever, on the P&B it'll automatically blow the whistle. On here, that was not added. It's not a hard thing to add. I like to use whistle. Shoot, there's a freeware thing available on the download station. It's like a whistle post that plays an automatic crossing signal whenever the train passes it. That works out pretty well. Let's sit here for a second, see if these crossing gates go down. I don't think they do. If I remember right, none of the crossing gates worked on this one. So that's something that could stand to be upgraded or updated along the route. If one were good at fiddling with crossings, that would definitely be a prime thing to upgrade and update functioning crossing signals. It goes off into the woods here, follows the river. I mean, it's really quite nice for its size. It's not a massive route by any means, but it's got a lot of nice change in scenery and detail all along the route. Now this is Dry Brook. This would be your point A, point B for the scenic railroad per the lore, I believe. I think this track's tied in. Yeah, this track's tied in, so you can run around the train. It's a heck of a long siding to run around your 5-car train, but it is there. And then it's got a MOW siding over here, which I've got one of the freeware CF7s available. Kind of a neat item. And then the MOW track kind of ends back behind here. Almost looks like it used to go off into the mountains because they got like this little bike trail here that looks to be resembling of what we see a lot of today, where old railroads get turned into walking and bike trails. But it does continue. does continue further on back. Now, this is Fleischmann's. Hopefully I said that right, but this looks like it used to be an old industry, I don't know, something maybe like logging or whatever you would have up here, maybe a mine. And the leftover infrastructure is still here. A couple siding tracks, storage tracks-ish. I use them for storage, really. I'll run around on the main track, what's left of a train station. If, like with the 282 that is available, I actually, on my version on 2019, I actually modified this route to make this station the furthest stop, just to make good use out of the 282. It made more sense. But there's the gravel industry back here. That's why you would come all the way back here. This is the aggregate. It's aggregate loading for those cars. Those aggregate cars that are available, they'll load up back here. I believe there's like a jointed rail auto loader or something right there. You can't fit many cars, 4 or 5 cars tops, but you know, that's something. It gives you a great opportunity for road switching all up and down the route. And then we're pretty much at the end of the route too. The track does continue back this way, but this is more just the abandoned track. Continues back here to a old, worn out, washed out bridge, which in and of itself is pretty darn cool. You know, you got the sections of the bridge down in the river. But it does leave the perfect opening for somebody to expand on if they were to merge a route. Merge, you know, any of your routes that you really like or something. It's a perfect spot to expand on it and just kind of include this route with others. See the train slowly tootling along. But that's pretty much it. I mean, again, it's not a huge route. Ignoring this little 6x6 right here, or 3x3. This isn't included with the route. It's this L shape right here. It's not a huge route, but it's got a lot of detail packed into it that is very, very satisfying to fiddle around with and set up trains to run. And I think you can pretty much set the scenic trains like that to run on their own, point A, point B, run around, rinse, repeat. The freight's a little bit harder. You will have to play around with it because it also doesn't have a whole lot of track markers and such along the route. The sidings are marked, but that's really about it. Now, I mentioned this part back here. This is technically a different route, also done by Approach Medium, and also includes its own K&L pack. However, the idea of it is designed to merge with the DB and EV. So this little section back here is the Hudson Western. Now I'm not going to dive real deep into this section here because I think I can do a video on it all on its own. So I think we've spent enough time in this video focusing on the DB and EV without including a whole other edition. But this is a separate pack from Approach Medium, and it is, per the lore, meant to be merged with the DB and EV down here at this end. Now the catch is, if you do merge it yourself, you do have to redo the interchange and whatnot right here, and obviously the track back here has been abandoned. per the original route, whereas this this Hudson Western module is set many years before the DB and EV. If you couldn't tell by the steamship sitting back here. But for it to blend in nicely, you do have to do a little bit of track work. You do have to do a little bit of scenery work all right here. But it is a pretty cool addition. This track right here, I did this myself just earlier. You do have to connect all this abandoned track to make it functional for you to be able to do that. But it's cool, and you know, it adds a little bit where you can potentially change some of these industries on the Hudson Valley or the Hudson Western to be a point A, point B for the DB and EV and be self-contained with a couple of industries. So that is really nice in and of itself. Again, there's the K&L pack that gives you an operational scenic railroad portion of it, and then there is plenty of motive power, plenty of freight options, and then a mainline over here if one wanted to expand on it, have mainline trains going point A, point B, racing through here. So there's a lot packed into this route. But I think that's really about it. There's not much else for me to go over. Again, I've had this route for a long while, and it has never failed to keep me entertained. It is one I come back to a lot. I think I've done a couple of my videos on it, but I don't think I had done a proper review of the route pack itself, so I highly recommend it. I highly recommend checking it out. It's one that you really can't go wrong with. If you like classic era, it's not terribly hard to modify the route to be in its heyday era, pre-abandonment, or if you enjoy the whole abandoned idea, it's already set up for that. If you like modern railroading, it's already set up with that for the lore too, so it's got a little bit of everything. So I definitely recommend checking it out. It is available on Approach Medium's website, and I believe also available through Join It Rail. I think I picked it up through Join It Rail, I don't know why. So definitely go check it out on either one of the websites. Highly recommend picking it up. It'll keep you entertained for a long while. It's an excellent route. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.